When you first get your new Can-Am X3, you're gonna be thinking, wow, I wanna take this on the street. Oh wait, it's not street legal. I need turn signals, a horn, and a license plate light to be completely legal. We're gonna fix that today with this Tusk plug-and-play kit. We have the accent lights in here, so it looks really, really nice, and we're gonna have all the links in the description. Let's unbox this, show you what we're getting into, walk you through the install so that you have as much confidence as you need to get this done and make your Can-Am street legal with not too much work and no stress involved, and keep everything fun. There's a link in the description if you want to order this. That is a free way to support us creating these videos, to help you and to help us keep creating and invest in us. And it's totally free to use, so just click that link in the description, place your order. Appreciate you so much. Let's do it. When you order this kit, it's going to come in a nice box like this, and then if you order the accent lights, they're going to come in a separate box. So let's do this box first. Nice Tusk branded. Everything Rocky Mountain touches, they seem to turn it up a notch. Everything from their shipping, their support. You open it up, you've got your instructions, everything you need in it. You have option 1 with the button lights or the accent lights. The accent lights, if you have a Can-Am X3, this is rad to have. It's OEM looking. Any other UTV, you could do the button lights. There's tons of places to put it, and it comes with a drill bit to install those. So this walks you through everything you need to know, and it's really a nice guide. So I think this video should give you the confidence you need to go and do it and know what you're getting into, and then this will be a nice reference when you go to install it. And then in here we have everything Tusk branded, labeled. Everything's super nice to lay out everything we need. Multiple wiring harnesses depending on what setup you have. Everything from washers and nuts. We have the hardware kit in here. We have a backing plate for the license plate on the back. And then we have our harnesses that are all wrapped, protected from the elements, and all the plug and play harnesses. There's no soldering or anything else like that with this kit. It is truly plug and play. The only thing you really got to wrap your head around is taking the car apart and routing wires and maybe some zip ties, but hey, we're gonna make it easy. And then we have some relays, and like these little boxes are rocker switch. The cardboard box is our accent lights. They have a little bit of instructions of how the wiring works for this. And then these are pretty big. They look pretty small on the car, but once you hold them by yourself, you realize, oh, these lights are big, and that's why the price is what it is in addition, because they are a really high quality finish and complete replacement for those accent lights. These will be white and be your turn signals up front. A general idea of what we're getting into is we're going to remove the passenger seat, and then we're going to remove the side paneling on the center console to expose the wiring. And then we're gonna move to the back, install those, and then move to the front. Depending if you have factory seats or not, it's gonna have its own process, but it's relatively similar. We're gonna slide the seat all the way forward, and then if you look down in this corner, there's an 18 mil bolt on each side. And if you look up right here, I have a big Milwaukee impact gun. You can use a ratchet and do it by hand. I have a bunch of extensions going back there and getting it by and breaking it loose. That nut just came off. It's gonna fall down there, which is okay. Taking our extension with our 18, we're gonna make our way to the other side. I've secured that on the bolt. I can't get quite the right angle to get a good grip on the bolt because of this style of seat that I have. The factory ones, there should be a lot more room. So I'm gonna slide on this adapter with this 18 millimeter wobble socket, and these are lifesavers. So I'm gonna secure it on the bolt first. There we go. Slide the seat back, get access to the bolts in the front. It's 13 millimeter on both sides. I have 2 wrenches. Pull out the bolt, put the nut on the end of it so you don't lose it. Set this in here. Then we'll go to the one that you're not gonna be able to see very well, but I can get to it. We're gonna remove our harnesses up top. We have a 19 mil on the bottom with our setup and a 19 on top. This can slide through. Pull this belt through. We're gonna set it down softly. Then we can pull this seat out. We're gonna disconnect the negative terminal in the battery. This is a 10 millimeter bolt. I did have to put some WD-40 on it because there's some corrosion. It's pretty dirty back here, but our negative is off. While we're right here, this panel that's barely holding on mine because we have so many other wires needs to come off. There's a tab on the bottom right here you're gonna have to get loose and then start pulling this panel out. And we have a lot jammed in here. So if you have a stock car, it'll probably be a little more roomy, but now we need to get up inside here and get this panel off. We're gonna take these two clips off. We have a plastic pry tool, plastic clip removal tool. They have an Amazon list in the description for tools like this if you're new here. Now I'm gonna go release it from the other side. On the other side, my car has a T30 Torx bit bolt screw right here. That should release this whole panel. There's a sneaky T30 on the front right here. Okay, now we have access we should need. Pulling this tab out up top and then pulling it out from here. We need to get this panel out. And then you slide this out. If you look, these tabs slide in. They don't really pull out. But on this side, there's two clips that pop out. We need to get to the terminals soon, so there's this little, mine says GEP, I don't know why, yours is probably red, but there's a ground, power, and accessory. We're gonna be using those relatively soon, but we need to go over to the driver's side. Our wire running begins, so we're gonna pull out our main harness. So I'm gonna go ahead, string all this out. You're gonna have a big connector and then a bunch of wires running from it. We need to orientate ourselves with what is what, and this is pretty wild. This is labeled main harness, 2 switches. This is the dash signals, and then I'm gonna pull off a wire, just pick any of them. This one says front right. So I'm gonna set this down in the center. I'm gonna go, okay, this is the front right. And then I know a similar wire is gonna go to the front left. So I'm gonna grab it, and you can see front left. So then I'm gonna take it to the front like that. And then I'm gonna grab another wire, and it reads to tail harness. So I know this one towards the back of the car. And then I'm gonna read this, and it says power supply. So this is gonna go by the power supply. And this is the flasher relay. So this is gonna stay about center. And then we have one more, and I'm gonna read on here, this is the horn. So this is also gonna go to the front. This is gonna go in the center. So I know this stays kind of underneath the steering wheel. This goes center under the dash, and then our long one goes to the back of the car. This is quality. I wanna focus on running the wires to the front of the vehicle, so I'm gonna go to my 3 up here, and the yellow wire is the front left if you're in the driver's seat, or the front right if you're on the outside of the vehicle. So yellow is driver's side, green, blue wire is gonna be passenger side, and then I have the horn, so I'm gonna hold these 3 together, and we're gonna run these to the front first. There's a rubber boot right here where all the wire harness comes out of. I'm clipping the zip tie off, and we'll put a new one, but we're gonna push our wires through here, and I need this to expand right there. This part's not very fun, but I think I can make it fun by getting some wire if you have some laying around. And then what we're gonna do is run it through the front, and then I'll tape the wires to it, and then I'll just pull it out. So I'm gonna stick that wire through. Hopefully this will be easily visible. All right, let me go see if I can see it. Oh yeah, all day. By the pedals, you can see I have the wire really easy. So I'm gonna bunch up this with the wire. I'm actually gonna wrap it around a little bit, which this might be all I need. Could you do it without this? Absolutely. Is this worth the heartache saving for my back right now? Yeah, okay. Pretty solid. So I'm gonna start fishing it, and we're already there. I'm gonna pull it out this side, and now we have access. Made light work of that. The one plug with the yellow, I'm gonna leave over here on the front driver's side, and then I'm gonna take the one with the blue and green, and I'm gonna run it over to the other side and just get it in the general area. And then the horn, I'm gonna take it and bring it up top in the general area where it's gonna hang out. Now I'm gonna pull this main plug through here, and then get the rest of these wires pulled through, because we're gonna be working on this side. We're gonna use this little plug to get power to the actual wiring. This is the power adapter for main harness. We're gonna go to our terminal. Let's start with the power. So the center one, take this nut off. It's a 10 millimeter. We got red, blue, black. The red one's gonna go in the center. Just needs to be snug. Now we're gonna do the black one on the top. Snug. Now for the last one, the blue one, the accessory wire. Snug. We're gonna take this plastic deal, goes over all the terminals, keep them all in place. Now this is our power supply part of the harness. This plugs in here, plug and play. Waterproof. That is a seriously tight fit. And I just had to push that over and persuade it a little bit, and we're all good there. This is our flasher relay. So I'm gonna plug this in before I get any further. Right here, you'll see on the back, it says Tusk grounded LED flasher relay. We're gonna pop this package open, and we can plug it in. These connectors work perfectly. Our flasher relay is installed. All the wiring will get organized. This is made to work with a 4-seater, so we're gonna have a ton of extra wire when it comes to the tail part of the harness. So I'm gonna run it through right here and connect them, so I can leave this hanging out here. Labeled here is the tail harness. I have the tail harness, and if you go to the rear of the car and you look through the center in front of the drive belt, you'll see all the wires where they enter the car.
I got it.
Okay, cool. Parker came and grabbed this tail harness, and then I'm gonna look at this little tab here to make sure I have it lined up right. And then I'm gonna clip this in. That was easy. Now we can leave this here. We're gonna look at our connectors here, and the one with the purple wire is gonna be the driver's side. So I'm gonna leave that over here. I'm gonna make sure to get the other one routed to the passenger side and pass this through. I'm gonna pull out on this tab and slide this plug out, and then plug the new male part of the wiring harness into the actual tail light. And then you're now gonna have a female and a male end, and that's where you're gonna connect these two together, like this. And then that's like a bypass to make the blinker work. On the driver's side, you're gonna be left over with the blue and the black, and this is gonna get ran to the center right here. And then this wire, you don't need to stress about the suspension because it's gonna get ran up inside here at the very end, but this should work so we can test it soon. If you don't wanna break the connection point on your taillight right here, where my finger is, if you can grab it and pinch it and pull it out and then pull the plug out, even if it's dry rotted like mine, it will release without breaking, and you can get this plug out like this. So just be wary of that. I'm sure someone's gonna yank on it really hard and snap it. It ain't gonna be me. And then when you push them back in, you kind of have to force that clip on there. The same way you took it off, you kind of have to force it the other way. And then this one clips on pretty easy. And then this wire is going to be dangling. We will come back and fix that. Next, we need to remove this panel right here to put on our license plate backing plate with the light. We've got a T30 bolt here. One down here. One in the center. These ones are actually bolts, they're not screws. I just put my shoulder into it because it wants to fall. Take it over to the bench, get our backing plate, get my license plate off. I'm gonna get my backing plate. They have these supplied bolts. I'm gonna go through the passenger side. On the X3, the bolts are a little big, but if you put some power behind it, you can get it to go through. So now I can hook my backing plate on there. For the top driver's side, I'm gonna pull out my light with the wiring on it. Before we put the light in, we need to have the plate on here because this side is technically backwards. Needs a little persuasion on this plate. Okay, that's lined up. Take our light wires, run them through individually, carefully. And then I'm gonna work this one in and twist it. Now I want the light to face down at a 45, basically pointing at this hole here. The included washer, run it through each wire, slide it down, run each wire through the nut, Drop it down. Work it on with your finger. Hold the back side so it doesn't rotate. And then I'm gonna come in here with a crescent wrench, just something simple, kind of a tight spot. This just allows me to snug it up. That's plenty tight. And these cables are ready to go. And we have our plate in place. And all I gotta do is put my washer on, 13mm nut included. I'm gonna hold it here, take my gun on the back side, snug it up. Plate is mounted and we have our license plate light to make us legal. I'm gonna set this on the ground softly. The black goes to black. Slide these two connectors together. And then we're gonna do red to blue. You push it in and there's a little spot, you'll see it'll pop all the way in, and I'm gonna go get my heat gun really quick. All right, pulling on these. They feel good. There's enough wire. I'm gonna leave this off and make sure everything works before I put anything back. Tail lights are hooked up, rear lights hooked up. Now let's go wire in the front, take it apart, get our new accent lights in, and then we'll be able to test it and then throw it back together and do all of our wire tucking. So start taking off the front. We have T30, 10 mil on the back. Pushing on it with my finger. Another one down here. And another one. Rubber grommets, 4 of them right here. Gives us access to some more T30s. When you head up underneath here, there's T30s on each side. This is the only 2 holding it on. Two plastic fasteners up top. I'm gonna be patient with these. They're older. Okay, both of these are intact, which is perfect. We're gonna make our way around and get this whole front end off. There's an outer one up here as well. There's these little tabs with these clips. I think I can pry it off by hand. Mine's pretty chewed up. There's another clip right here. Slide it off with my gloves. Take off this little plate. Looks like this is pretty free. Behind the gas door is one we need to get to. Another long one. Then we need to get these clips. Using an O-ring seal removal tool to wedge into where these clips are. That one came off a lot easier. Okay, we're looking pretty free. Now we need to unhook the headlights and the accent light cables up in here. Gonna be hard to see on camera, but I'm using this tool to release their cable. Where the headlight wiring harness plugs in, directly next to it, there's a T20. It's a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna come in from the top and disconnect this so it's free. Do the same thing on the other side. All right, we're free. Cool, now we have access to our accent lights. Looks like we need to remove the headlight completely. Got a 7mm here. Down in here, we have a T20. Now our headlight can come out. I'm gonna leave that T20 in the headlight so I don't lose it. Let's do one at a time here. We actually have to separate this piece to get this accent light out. We have 2 T20s, and then the ones up here are T30s. Okay, we need to get this clip off. Any tool to pry out on it. I think that's how you use these. You stick it through like that. Okay, that comes out. We'll do one side at a time. Nothing to panic about here. Okay, a T30 right here. And a T20 right here. Now we have access to the accent light. There's a bunch of tabs, some tabs that hold it in. Not bad, not bad. These are kind of faded. 2019 car, this will look nice. There's a little before and after. We're gonna get a little refresh. Oh, it seems too thick. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I really had to apply some pressure. So we got one here, here, and here. Pushing them in as far as I can. Check the back side. Everything's where it should be. So I'm gonna pull this piece back around. Set it up in here. It sits like, there we go. This thing went like this. Then we have this little piece, retainer. So we got big T27, big T27. You've got another big T27, but this one is a actual bolt, not a screw. You got a T20 up in here, and then we have this clip here, and this T20 screw that goes into plastic here. So the only thing to really look out for is make sure you put the bolt here. The rest of them are plastic screws. Now we just gotta do the other side. This T20 on the headlight, I'm gonna walk it down to its home right here. And then line up this one. And this is that long one. That's a 7mm. Snug. Over on the other side, repeat the process, exact same thing. All right, now the Legos get put back together. We're gonna take our plug on the driver's side and plug it straight into our accent light down here. So where the factory accent light plugs in, I'm plugging in our new harness. I'm gonna be in your way. There it goes. Your factory harness, we will zip tie it and let it just chill there. The headlight wire is gonna go straight back into it, the factory one. Hear that click, we're good. Factory headlight passenger side's going in. Click went in. Grab our new harness for the accent light. Find the pins in their happy spot. Went in nicely. In this white box is our Tusk universal horn. We're gonna be mounting this next. We're gonna take this bolt off. 10mm on both sides. Whew, got it out. It's pretty long. All right, so we're gonna hook up our wires. Don't even matter. Just get them on snug. Then put this down, slide it on that bolt. I'm gonna try and make this as discreet as possible. I like where that's at. And you can bend this tab however you want. Cool. On this Can-Am, I have the analog gauges, which they don't show in the other popular video from Rocky Mountain, so we're gonna touch on this. 4 T20 screws. And there's a plug on the back side. Wiggle this off. Now we're gonna be getting in this plug right here. You're left with this plug, and we're gonna be taking it apart. It's a lot less scary than I thought it would be. So this black translucent cover, we're gonna take that off. So I'm gonna grip it with my left hand and use a flathead screwdriver to press in the center and release these tabs. That side came off. Same thing, I'm gonna hold over here, push that in. This translucent cover will come off, and then we need to get this clamshell off, the gray piece. So what I want to do is start on this side. Actually pulled it apart already a little bit, and I'm gonna hold it apart and get behind here with a flathead and pry that little tab, and then this third tab to open up the back side of this, right? So now I can see the back side, and this is delicate, so take your time. There's gonna be a black with a tan line cable. It's gonna be the one next to it. So I'm gonna get in here and remove this blue plug. You can see that one I took out. That comes out, this little guy. For this car, we're using the single dash turn signal pin. And how this works is all you gotta do is you're gonna take this pin and you're gonna slide it in that new hole, and you're gonna see it come through the other side. And then you're gonna see this little tab. So these should all be flat. You can tap on them and make sure that they're all level with each other. Then you wanna be able to pull on the cable a little bit and it's not gonna slide through. That is installed correctly. And then I can close up this clamshell with all the cables coming off the side. Make sure it clips shut. Good there. All of these are level with each other. Put our translucent cover back on until we hear it clip. You can pull this wire out of this little housing, and I had to use a knife to cut this electrical tape to open this loom, but I'm gonna slide this new yellow wire into the loom, the factory one. For that new yellow wire to run in the loom, I had to pull off one of the connectors, cut the tape, open it a little bit. All these T27s around here, I took them off in 2 plastic clips. I was able to lift this up and come in from this side and get that wire pushed back through there. You can just follow this harness for the gauge cluster. So I have that plug ready to connect to our new harness for this whole system. So now I can put this piece back. It's really straightforward. I just wanted to show you that you have to lift this up a little bit to be able to put this plug in the right spot. We're ready for our turn signal switch harness. Third and final harness. You see a couple different wires here. And then we have these for our relays. The horn is only these 2 pins. The turn signals have 7. Back to where we started, the center of the car. This harness connects here, plugged in firm. On that harness, you're gonna have the 3-pin connector to go to our turn signal for our gauge cluster. I'm gonna pop this in. That's clipped in, that's good to go. We have our relays here, we're ready to plug in. Second one. These are our rocker switch for the turn signal and the horn button, so we gotta figure out where we're gonna go. My personal car, I mean, ideally it'd be cool if it was to the left of the steering wheel or in the center up here, but I have so much going on already. We've got one open spot here, it looks like, so it'd be cool to put the turn signals there or the horn. They're about the same length. Included turn signal button, looks like it's gonna pop in right here. So I'm gonna look at the pins. The empty one is in the top corner, so I'm gonna remember that. I almost would rather run this through first. Plug this in. Support it from the back. And just like that, snapped it in, heard a click. Cool. Now I just gotta figure out where I wanna put my horn because I'm out of place. This part you can decide on your own car. If you look down here, I made a spot on my own for the horn button because I don't have any more room. Wait for it. Looks sweet up here. That's really nice. Awesome. All right, the easy part, tidy up all the wires. If you're wondering where does it show the turn signals on the analog gauge cluster, it doesn't matter which way you have, it just lets you know that, hey, don't forget your blinkers are on. If you didn't want to wire this, I don't blame you because look how bright this is. You wouldn't forget, but hey, it's factory. We did not use these on this 2019 Can-Am X3. You might need these adapters for the accent lights depending on what car you have, but we did not use those. Tusk does include a bunch of zip ties, which is great for doing all of our wire tying and things like that. It does come with some big rubber straps that you can tie together with bolts, and there's a bunch of extra bolts in the kit that you'll find to tie those together if you need. Use common sense, follow other wires, tie them to those wires. We have a bunch of bolts. We're gonna put it back as we took it apart, then we're gonna hit the road and show you what it looks like, and we'll give you a little bit of an idea of how we did all the wire tucking and stuff when we're done. But we have a ton of mess to clean up, so we're gonna throw a time lapse on and get after it and show you the final look, and then hit the road and let you see the car on the road with the blinkers working, so it's completely street legal. Let's start from the back, little walkthrough. We have our light positioned correctly here. If we look up in here, we've got our cables tight, and then we follow them in the fender all the way down and down there. Same on the driver's side right here. I had a bunch of extra, so I doubled it up, carried it up inside the fender so it's all out of the way. It flows down where the other wires are and goes along here. And it's all safe. I didn't put anything too tight right here because of chassis flex and stuff. That scares me a little bit. Heading to the front, we have our wire right here, our stock plug tied up. I have these tied up right here. I tied up the rubber piece where the wires come out of, and everything's zip tied to a couple things. You can see that tied up right there. We have our accent light plugged in, and our harness is looking good. Heading in here, our seat is back in. Harnesses are tight, seat's tight. Everything's mounted. All the trim pieces are back where they should be. All the bolts are good. And we have our new button right here. Our gauge bolts are all back in, the screws. I got the wiring harness on the bottom there dialed. And we removed my windshield while I was at it. That's a good check, so let's hit the road. Another great modification when you first get your Can-Am is having a fire extinguisher. There's a really nice mount. It looks pretty cool like you saw in those shots of it on the road. I'm gonna leave that install video right here that talks about that product to give you everything you need to know about it.